Good morning. I'm Mina Hata, she, her, and I am a member of our board of directors. Welcome to White Bear Unitarian Universalist Church. Just want to mention that we have no order of service this morning. I'm just letting go of the order of service and going with the flow and enjoying this beautiful piece that we have to keep us organized. So, I invite you to do the same. We are a community of youth, adults, and children of many diverse theologies held together by covenant, not creed. Together we share the values of courage, reverence, and compassion. May you know deep welcome and belonging in this place in this new year together. We welcome 2025 knowing we are in this together and you are part of that. To share a request for today's meditation, please place it in the chat box before the opening hymn or add it to the meditation bowl. The meditation bowl is in the Soulwork Center, where you can find activities to help people of all ages engage with today's service. Welcome, visitors. We are so glad you're here. If you're visiting with children, this is an intergenerational service. If people of any ages get the wiggles, you are welcome to find things to interact with in the Soulwork Center. Additionally, nursery care is provided at each service. As always, we welcome the noises, movements, and mirth that little ones bring to our services. And we want to welcome our guest musician for the day, Lynette Heinzen. Welcome, Lynette. We do ask that you hold their applause during the service and show our appreciation after the postlude. Welcome to our church. Together we grow our souls and serve the world in love.
Good morning. I'm Mark Caswell, and my pronouns are he, they. Come in. Come into this place which we make holy by our presence. Come in with all your vulnerabilities and anxieties, and strengths and fears, loves and hopes. For here you need not hide, nor pretend, nor be anything other than who you are and who you are called to be. Come into this place where we can touch and be touched, heal and be healed, forgive and be forgiven. Come into this place where the ordinary is sanctified, the human is celebrated, and the compassionate is expected. Come into this place, together we make it a holy place.
Good morning. My name is Rack, and I use he, they pronouns. Our chalice lighting this morning is adapted from Reverend Scott Taylor. We gather as a house of stories. As we learn of those who have gone before, the way in front of us becomes clearer. As we weave together our individual tales into a common story, our loneliness lessens, and the ever-present web of our oneness is revealed. As we listen deeply to each other's difficult stories with tenderness and trust, we descend into the longings and learnings, hopes and fears of the humanity we share. Beneath the wells from which we drink, there is a deeper well that feeds them all. Come, let us tell each other the tales of our thirst. Let us drink from the stories that sustain us all. We light the chalice this morning of the stories held in this community. Join me in the speaking of our opening words. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Rise in body and spirit for the singing of our first hymn, which is number 101 in your gray hymnal, Abide With Me.
I'm Reverend Jack Adey, Associate Minister here. Good to be with you. Reverend Jessica is out sick today, which is why I'm here to tell a story she has chosen and to deliver her sermon. More to come. But for now, The Broken Story by Reverend Christina Leone Tracy. This is a story about a man with a story about stories, if you will. Once upon a time, there was a man with a story. This wasn't any old once upon a time story, not one you could find on a bookshelf or hear around the campfire. This was his story, and no one else's. This story had been carefully crafted. It began before he was born, and this story told of his loves and fears, his dreams realized and his dreams yet to come. This story was complete. It told his whole life, including those bits that still existed in his imagination. In fact, this story was so complete, and he was so happy with his story that he carried it around to make sure it was safe. It was somewhat bulky and unwieldy, but he didn't mind. It was his story. The thing about this story was, it was very fragile, made up of many pieces and held together by only his own imagination. He was worried it might break apart at any minute. And so he grew more and more protective of his story. He held it even closer. As he went about his life, he checked on the story to make sure he was following it correctly. He avoided adventure, and unknowns because, well, they might break his story. And then one day, the inevitable happened. Without warning, his story broke. It was unforeseen, and he hadn't done anything wrong at all. But there it was, laying in 1,000 shattered pieces on the ground, with the sunlight glinting off the bits of story he had so carefully protected for all those years. He was heartbroken, and since his story hadn't said to put the pieces back together, he was at a loss. What now? He sat down next to the pile of pieces and cried. A while later, maybe it was minutes, maybe it was hours, a group of people came out of the nearby building and saw him sitting on the sidewalk, surrounded by a pile of broken pieces, clearly in need of help. "What happened here?" a woman asked. "My story, it's gone. I worked so hard to build it, to protect it, to keep it from harm, and now it's gone. Gone!" he wailed. "Is this the story here?" a man asked. "Yes, look at it. There's nothing left of it." "It looks like it's here, not gone," said a child. "We just have to put it back together." "Put it back together? There's no way. You don't even know what it looked like. How will you put it back together if you don't even know me?" The child was tenacious. "Don't worry. With all of us here to help, we'll put it back together in a way that you would never expect. You never know, it might be more beautiful than before." And so they swept up the pieces of this man's story carefully and went together into the building from which they had emerged. They poured him some hot coffee and sang a song he had never heard before. Something about coming again and again, though you've broken your vows 1,000 times. The song was soothing, and the coffee was warm. He began to feel hope again, that his story could be put back together. And it took a long time. Maybe it was days, maybe it was years, but they got it all back together. And they added new parts, and some old parts didn't fit anymore. But that was okay. The child was right. It was more beautiful than before. And this time, the story was held together not only by his imagination, but the imagination and support of an entire community. It wasn't nearly so fragile, and it even allowed for adventure. Can you join me for a moment of prayer or meditation? Find a comfortable seat here, wherever you are, feeling grounded. Take a deep breath, maybe even allowing your shoulders to fall away from your ears on this chilly morning. This morning's meditation is adapted from Ade Ama Kraba. Let this year be a clean slate for new beginnings. I pray for stamina, to finish things left uncompleted, to call on people I neglected last year. I pray for courage, to rally in the cause for peace and justice, to speak out in support when others remain silent. I pray for empathy, to better understand the pain and suffering of others, to continue engaging heart to heart. I pray for patience, when seeking resolutions to problems, when seeking a new beginning after an ending. I pray for creativity, in seeking new meaning in service, engaging others in service to the beloved community. I pray for peace between friends and families, between communities and countries. All these things I pray for in this time of beginning, in this new year. This morning, we hold in light and love Ellen Lowry, whose dog companion Apollo died Thursday at the age of 16. May peace be with him, his fans, and his family. Kurt Proud, who is mourning the loss of his wife, Beverly, prayers of comfort and consolation to him and all whose lives she touched. The family and friends of Cheryl Niebuhr, who passed away on New Year's Day. We think especially of our partner, Joe Ford, and we send her prayers of comfort and strength. We also have a request here. Please send love to my daughter who lives far from me and is in hospital again with terminal lung and brain cancer. And now into this stillness and out of it, we speak out loud the names of our beloveds who need our prayer. Knowing that we are more able to hold this together than we are alone. May it be so. Amen.
May remain seated for the singing of our next hymn, which is Meditation on Breathing, number 1009 in your teal hymnal. There are 3 parts to this hymn, and you're encouraged to sing whichever of those 3 parts is the best for you. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out.
As we prepare to collect our offertory, we invite you to our Wednesday community meal and programming. There are activities for children, choir practice, and a forum on navigating school choices that evening, led by School District Superintendent Cecilia Dodge. All are welcome at 5:30. Twice per month, we practice generosity in the form of giving to our offertory plate, and the entire collection goes to an organization nominated by members of this congregation. This week's special collection is for the Twin Cities Habitat for Humanity. For many years, WBUUC has partnered with Habitat by sending volunteers to a local building project every summer and by supporting the organization with your donation. This special collection has increased meaning with the recent passing of former President Jimmy Carter, who, with his wife Rosalind, provided 4 decades service with Habitat, bringing public awareness to this nationwide issue of homelessness. Habitat believes everyone deserves a safe and affordable home. To volunteer, contact WBUUC member Jeff Ronta. You can give today via the offertory baskets on our website or use the text-to-give number shown on the screen. Please use the word Habitat, however you choose to give. Thank you for your generosity and your faith in this life we live together. The offertory will now be gratefully collected.
For Grief by John O'Donohue. When you lose someone you love, your life becomes strange. The ground beneath you gets fragile. Your thoughts make your eyes unsure, and some dead echo drags your voice down where words have no confidence. Your heart has grown heavy with loss, and though this loss has wounded others too, no one knows what has been taken from you when the silence of absence deepens. Flickers of guilt kindle regret for all that was left unsaid or undone. There are days when you wake up happy, again inside the fullness of life, until the moment breaks and you are thrown back onto the black tide of loss. Days when you have your heart back, you are able to function well, until in the middle of work or an encounter, suddenly, with no warning, you are ambushed by grief. It becomes hard to trust yourself. All you can depend on now is that sorrow will remain faithful to itself. More than you, it knows its way and will find the right time to pull and pull the rope of grief until that coiled hill of tears has reduced to its last drop. Gradually, you will learn acquaintance with the invisible form of your departed, and when the work of grief is done, the wound of loss will heal, and you will have learned to wean your eyes from that gap in the air and be able to enter the hearth in your soul, where your loved one has awaited your return all the time. Our service this morning is dedicated to the memory of beloveds who have died this past year. And we do this candle lighting ritual to name and honor the grief that we carry into this new year. And we do this ritual also to pledge ourselves to the practice of continuing to move into what it means to go on living without the beloved people that we lost. In a moment, you'll be invited to come up and light a candle. There are some holes in the metal frame here that fit the candle and many squares that do not. So make sure you find the hole for the candle. And after lighting a candle, you're invited to say the person's name into the microphone. If I could get your microphone back. At the end, I will light candles for anyone who isn't able to come up. And I will also read off any names in the Zoom chat box. So if you're on Zoom today, please put the names of your beloveds there, and I will light the candle for you. This is our way of honoring these lives. We ask you to hold this space in silence, bearing witness to the griefs we carry. And you can use the already lit candles to light yours. Please come forward.
Naomi Dare.
Sandra Pattison.
Audrey Sanders.
Willie Shaw.
Beverly Proud.
Grace Marie Weinenfreund.
Jim Hughes.
John and Virginia Lyon.
Larry Paff. Jimmy Carter.
Victims of war and violence. My Uncle Dave. Connie Trosky.
Bob and Miel.
Connie Alfred.
Jackie Lawson, Jerry Hines.
Doug Feek.
Eric Knox.
Naomi Bev.
My mother, Laura.
Joel and Mary.
Willie Ryan.
Henry. Baby Nelson.
My sister Kathleen. My sister-in-law Kirsten.
My brother-in-law Jim.
Annie.
Charlie Wakilius.
Dakota Larson.
Beverly Proud.
Grandson Chester Lee.
Anyone else like me to light a candle for them, just by a show of hands here in the room? We have more candles to light here for Jan Eller Isaacs. Catherine Lonsdale. Dawn Dietz. Gladys. My bird, Phoebe. Dominic and Elaine Parente. Keith. Meg Johnson. Sydney Scott. Rico. Naomi Bear. Cheryl Niebuhr. Tom Walsh. Peter Klein. Ginny Johansson. Someone's dad, Eric Stull. Ken. Reggie, Bob Buresh, Louis Hauser, we light one more candle for all those unnamed. Thank you for these candles. We give thanks for these lives which touched our own. Each year we gather for this service where we honor those we have lost in the last year. As we process the moving ahead into a new year, we tend to our grief and feel it in our hearts as we continue to reform our lives without our beloveds. We carry them on our hearts and our minds. Our theme this month is story, and grief has its own story that is unique to each person. But the older we get, we see the echoes of it more and more in each other's eyes. And as we carry this grief, we carry on with our lives. Groceries still need to be purchased. The dog still needs to be walked. The children taken to school. and yet grief is always present with us. We know in the initial stages it is present in almost every moment, but then you get to a place where it is a once or twice per day reminder of that person. As many people in this room can attest, grief is a part of aging. The older we all get, the more we lose people we love. To be the last person in a group of friends or the last family member, it is a lot to carry. This knowledge of how precious life is at the forefront of the knowledge that for each of us, our days are numbered. Again, these are Reverend Jessica's words, right? 1 year at a question box service, Reverend Jessica received the following question. What have you learned from people who are dying? That question sat with her all of these years, and so today I give you 11 lessons Reverend Jessica has learned from being with people who are dying. And these are fitting to talk about as we begin this year, because this is what we do together. We live as well as we can, and we die all the same. Living and dying held by a community, honoring the stories within each of us, in that we carry from our ancestors. Lesson 1, talk about death. I mean, really talk about it. Don't wait until someone is in hospice to talk about it. Talk with your friends, your family members, your beloveds, about what they want their death to look like, about service plans, about favorite hymns and readings. If you wait until the end, chances are they won't be able to be as fully present to the conversation as you would hope and wish that they would be. Talk about death and dying. Lesson 2, it is okay to be done. For those living with cancer, with illness, with all the things that remind us of our fragile bodies, it's okay to be done. Often, Reverend Jessica has seen people living for others, living because they aren't ready to let go, and yet towards the end, there's often a lot of pain. It's okay to say you are done before your family is ready to let you go. Lesson 3, when you are done and ready to transition out of this life, it helps to make a conscious decision to stop engaging in the world, to stop reading the news, to stop worrying about what will happen to the people you love. When you listen to that still, small voice within that says it is time, let those things go and just be present to the feelings of a loved one holding your hand or to the beautiful impermanence of a flower next to your bed. Lesson 4, for those visiting people who are on hospice or in palliative care, know that just sitting next to them, holding their hand, maybe offering them a hand massage with some lotion, or reading some poetry to them, is all that is needed. Your presence is enough. They may not want to know who the next Speaker of the House is. They may just want your presence. Lesson 5, care for the carers. The people in the immediate circle who are with the person who is dying, care for them. Bring them meals. Offer to sit with the person who is dying so that they can go for a walk. Offer to go grocery shopping. Do their laundry. Care for them. Because they're just trying to make it in the midst of a tenuous time. Lesson 6. Death and grief brings out sides of ourselves that are sometimes short or clipped. Sometimes not the kindest, because our heart is breaking. Be gentle with yourselves and each other during this time. Lesson number 7. Life is a beautiful, precious gift. Remember that daily. Death reminds us of this, and yet for the people left behind, their choice is to wrap themselves in the blanket or pillow fort of grief for as long as they need to. And when the time comes, emerge and live. Lesson 8. Talk about the person you lost. Tell the stories of them. Tell when you are thinking of them. It is okay and helps bring their memories and presence into your life. When we think we can't mention them, we cut off parts of ourselves. We are not meant to be siloed parts. We are meant to be one comprehensive whole that lives, loves, grieves, and feels all the emotions. Number 9, spend time in nature. Plant things. If you don't plant things, take a walk near a lake or river. Go to a friend's garden. Take time to admire the beauty of where we live. Nature will remind you of the beauty in impermanence, and that we all return to this beautiful earth. It will restore your heart and provide comfort. Lesson 10. Take time to think about your legacy. How do you want to be remembered? Live your life accordingly. And lesson 11, the final lesson. Tell the people you love that you love them frequently. Let them know how beloved they are to you. Don't wait to have the conversations you hope to have. Have them now. Let go of old hurts if you are able, or have the conversation where you name those hurts in order to let them go. You know those people who are really special to you? Call them. This afternoon, tell them, send them a letter, or tell them after the service if they are here. Let the people you love know that they are loved. These are a few things Reverend Jessica has learned from being with people who are dying. But the biggest learning is that to be invited in when someone is at that threshold is a precious gift. Treasure that gift. It's a privilege to journey with people as they make this transition. And there are moments that take one's breath away. Life is so precious. With these candles before us, we honor these lives that touched our own. And we give thanks for knowing and loving them. Out of all the places in all the world, you made your way here this morning. Out of all the people in all the world, the people you love are right here within your heart. Share their stories, the way they lived their life, and how knowing them changed you. We are all the better for it. Amen? Please rise and body your spirit for number 6, just as long as I have breath. Number 6 in the gray hymnal. Words are from Reverend Rod Richards. May the stories we create honor our ancestors, prove worthy of our children and our children's children, And may our stories tell of connection and compassion in this present moment. Go in peace.